She stomped onto my land in designer boots, hands on hips, shouting I had 1 hour to pack up and leave, before the HOA took over. I was standing in the middle of my great-granddad's ranch, land that's been in my family for 4 generations. But Karen didn't know who she was talking to. I wasn't just the guy cleaning stables that morning, I was also Sheriff Daniel Grayson. And what she tried to pull? Illegal, aggressive, and deeply personal. Not her land, not her rules. I live in a small ranching town in southern Colorado, wide skies, long fences, and the kind of place where everyone knows your dog's name and your granddad's reputation. My ranch sits on 28 acres passed down from my father, and his father before that. It's private land, off the main road, with a gravel drive and a white-painted gate with my family's initials, GR, welded in black iron. 3 weeks ago, a luxury eco-housing development started going up just over the ridge. And with it came the HOA, loud, pushy, and led by one particularly bold president named Karen Elwood. Her first mistake. I first met Karen at the local diner. She sat down across from me, completely uninvited, and dropped a folder on the table. "Mr. Grayson, your fencing overlaps with HOA-managed trails. You're in violation." I blinked. "My land's not part of your HOA." She smiled tightly. "All property within the 2-mile expansion zone must comply with our rural harmony guidelines." Expansion zone was her code for made-up nonsense. I told her to leave the property lines alone, and to stay off my land. But a week later, I found a bright orange notice to vacate stapled to my barn. That's when I knew it wasn't over. The ultimatum. The morning it all hit the fan, I was hauling hay bales into the back of my truck when a white Mercedes SUV rolled through the front gate like she owned the place. Karen stepped out in a tailored khaki outfit, the kind of Western chic you'd only wear if you'd never cleaned a horse stall in your life. "You have 1 hour to vacate this ranch," she snapped. "You're trespassing on future HOA-maintained land. And if you don't leave, we'll have you forcibly removed." I set the hay down slowly. "You sure about that?" She smirked. "You can call whatever backwoods sheriff runs this place. I've got developers, lawyers, and real estate maps." I pulled a red cloth from my back pocket, wiped my hands, and then, from the barn wall, unhooked my badge. "Karen," I said calmly, pinning it to my chest, "I am the sheriff." She went pale. "Things get real quiet," she stammered. You're impersonating law enforcement." I whistled once, and my deputy, Ramirez, stepped out from behind the barn, where he'd been loading feed. He tapped his own badge. Karen took a step back. "There's no way. I was told this land wasn't officially incorporated. That the county hadn't assigned jurisdiction here." I raised an eyebrow. "And who told you that?" "Your Pinterest board of HOA law." Her mouth opened and closed like a dry trout. "I suggest you leave," I said. "And don't set foot past that gate again. You're not just trespassing, you're issuing fraudulent notices under a false claim of authority." She looked at Ramirez. "Are you seriously backing him up?" Ramirez took out his phone. "Already calling dispatch. Want to explain your vacate notice to county legal?" Karen versus the county line. The law rides, and Karen didn't leave quietly. She cursed the dust, accused us of running a good old boy operation, and even threatened to have state-level officials intervene. But while she was flailing and fuming, my deputy Ramirez handed her a formal trespassing citation and read her the applicable ordinance. Unauthorized entry onto private agricultural property with intent to intimidate or mislead the landowner is punishable by fine or jail time under County Code 8 to 311. Karen's eyes widened. "I am the victim here. He threatened me with hay bales." "You stepped on his land," Ramirez said flatly. "And issued a fraudulent notice you had no authority to deliver." She tried to argue, but I'd already radioed in our county legal liaison, Marla Duke. Within the hour, she arrived, clipboard in hand and boots on the ground. What HOA really stands for turns out, Karen's developer, expansion zone, was complete fiction. The HOA documents she waved around were not only unenforceable, they never applied to my parcel. My ranch wasn't even zoned for residential under county law. It had a legacy agricultural exemption dating back to 1964. Even worse for her. She'd claimed her HOA held jurisdiction over easements, and had already submitted paperwork to extend greenway paths through my pastures, without notifying the planning office or acquiring any right-of-way. That's land fraud. Marla jotted notes and calmly told Karen, "You may want to retain an attorney." Karen blinked. "You people have no idea who you're dealing with." "Oh, we do," Marla said. "You're the reason the county now requires all new HOAs to submit boundary reviews. You're why we exist." The fallout rides hard. In the following 2 weeks, the county filed charges against Karen for fraudulent misrepresentation and trespassing. Her HOA was slapped with a $15,000 citation for attempting unauthorized land development. The luxury eco-housing project lost its county permit for trying to forge right-of-way claims. And me? I stayed put, planting new fence posts and sipping sweet tea while the developers packed up their signs. Karen tried to rally support, even holding a Justice for Community Housing meeting at the local firehouse. Only 4 people showed up. One of them was my cousin Jake, who just went for the free cookies. This land is still my land these days. I don't hear much from Karen. She still lives in one of the newly built homes over the ridge, but she's been keeping her boots off my soil. Her HOA presidency was quietly handed over to someone else. And last I heard, she's lobbying to rename the trailhead to something more neutral than Grayson Ridge. Tough luck. I donated it under that name to the County Conservation Trust. It'll be called that forever. Because some people wear fake power. But others? We carry the real badge. Love seeing Karens get lassoed by the law. Hit subscribe for more real-style revenge stories, HOA horror takedowns, and satisfying justice, straight from the dusty roads and cul-de-sacs of America. One new showdown drops every week.